All right, let us say hello to Randy Costa, a fellow New Englander, living the good life in sunny Florida these days. How are you, my man?
Mike Heck, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to have you back, my man. There's a lot going on in the world of MMA these days. You've been out there quite a bit with a fight you'd like to have, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But you were supposed to compete last month against Trevin Jones. You were forced to withdraw from that fight with an injury. Seems like if people follow you on social media, you are on the other end of that now. What happened? How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling great now. So before going into the fight against Journey last year, it was a few weeks before. I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but it did happen. I tore a muscle in my hip. So I was pretty fucked up, and I never really got it like fixed or taken care of. And obviously, I'm still throwing kicks and running and doing everything that I'm not supposed to do. It caught up with me. Everything started overcompensating, and like my hips are supposed to be square like this. This hip, the muscle was torn, so everything overcompensated. So one of my legs was longer than the other. I was like way fucked up. I thought I had a slipped disc in my back. I couldn't bend, cough, shit, sneeze, nothing for like probably like 3 solid weeks. The initial like flare up with my back happened probably about 6 weeks before the fight. I rested about a week and then rested 2 weeks, and then it came back about 3 weeks before the fight. And then I figured at that point that there's really no chance that I can do any kind of training. I couldn't even stand up. I can stand up, but I couldn't walk. It was a whole process to like get myself up off the ground, roll out of bed, sleep. And I've talked to a lot of other people that have had similar injuries to this. And I always thought lower back injuries were just kind of like a crock of shit. Like, oh, dude, just rub some dirt on it, you'll be fine. But now I know it's not a fucking game. Thankfully, it was nothing serious. I had to do PT for 2 times a week for a month, and I was like, then when I coming back from that, I was still super careful, like with the hard wrestling and hard grappling and hard kickboxing and things like that. But as of last week or 2 weeks ago, I'm 100% good to go. Been training 100%, wrestling, grappling, all those things. But when we're talking about like a 6-week gap of like limited training and restricted training and just, dude, it was like super fucked up. I don't ever want to have back injury like that again. Like that really sucked.
Did it kind of show you that, you know, when things flare up now, it's not just, I mean, you mentioned like, especially the back, you can't just rub dirt on it, but, you know, just kind of getting into it a little bit more and just seeing what the actual problem is so you don't have to go through this again?
Dude, I couldn't even believe it because, I mean, I run a lot and, you know, I've always been a runner, so I always had like, you know, sore knees and ankles and joints and little things like that. But like my hip was like, that was like a real fuck up. And I got it checked out after the fight, and they told me that it's torn and that I should do this, that, the other thing. And because I guess I'm ignorant towards what actually the problem is, I didn't really give a fuck, and I kind of just washed it away. And then kind of got payback for it. But honestly, dude, it might have been a blessing in disguise. I don't think I've been in this good of shape in a long time. Like, I don't even have a fucking fight lined up. I had a fight canceled, you know, and I'm on weight. I'm talking like I can make weight in 3 days. I haven't been in this good of shape in a long time. So as shitty as it happened, and I felt awful for Trevin, and I'm happy that he 1, got a fight, and then 2, got another big win. I'm happy that I was able to, you know, take a step back and kind of realize like the things I need to do to get back in the cage. Because, man, I'm too young to be having like stupid lingering like actual real injuries. So could be a blessing in disguise, man. You know me, I'm a positive guy. It is what it is. We're on to the next one. We're good to go now.
So you can make weight in 3 days. Big difference from where you were last year, right? When the pandemic was like just kicking off, and you know, you said you got up to you ballooned to the biggest weight of your life. We're in a much different place now, right?
I couldn't make weight in fucking 3 months, never mind 3 days. Like, I'm good now. We've turned the page. We're good to go.
There you go. I saw on social media you've been training with the fine folks over at Sanford MMA these days. A lot going on over at that gym as always, but I know Adam Borch just came home with the big win over at Bellator. How have you been enjoying your time over at Sanford MMA?
Dude, I can't even begin to start. They are so awesome over there. Everybody's like is so awesome. That the facility is fucking gorgeous. Everything is gorgeous. The coaches, everybody's so welcoming. Everyone's so awesome. I really, you know, at Lozon's back at home in Massachusetts when I was training at Lozon's gym, it's very much like a family there. Sanford feels that way too. Everybody's super cool, hanging out with each other on the weekends, talking, checking in with each other. There's a big group chat within the gym. I can't say enough good things about that. You know, you have Henry, you have Kami, you have Greg Jones. Those guys, they know what they're doing. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, look at the names that they have there and what they have accomplished, man, I can't say better things about that gym and how I've been treated there. I'll be there for a long run for sure.
That's good to hear. So let's talk about something that has gotten a lot of people excited over the last couple of weeks. A call out of sorts to another rising bantamweight in Adrian Yanez. You were hoping to give him his wish, fight on that Houston card May 15th in his hometown. You've got to experience what it's like fighting in front of your home fans. What inspired this idea, this call out, this Reese's versus Dr. Pepper rivalry that we're seeing?
Well, dude, it wasn't even like I went out of my way. I was like, I want that guy. It wasn't that way at all. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but someone had tweeted like, oh, Randy Costa versus Adrian Yanez would be a good fight. And I chimed in. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that would be a good fight too. Like, whatever. Like, I'm sure it would be. Like, whatever. He's like very good. And they said something like, oh, he wants to fight May 15th. And I said, well, I don't really know how to talk shit, but I know he likes Dr. Pepper and Dr. Pepper sucks. So you want to take that as talking shit? Like if that's what we can like fight about. I don't dislike the guy, so I'm not like calling shots at him. It was simply just like a Twitter reply that had turned like this big thing, and then like it started catching steam, and like the schmo started talking about it, and other journalists or MMA journalism platforms started talking about it, and then it was like just became this thing of. It was actually really cool because it was the first time that I had seen something like people actually get behind a fight that was provoked with nothing but positivity. Like it was really fucking cool. Like people were like, wow, dude, this would be such a good fight. Like, but there was no animosity. We weren't talking shit about each other. It was, if anything, we were giving compliments to each other. And, you know, it was just really cool to see and change the angle of what sometimes MMA fighters can do. Like, I know I have never seen a fight come to fruition or at least like get back so hard of literally just positivity. There was no negativity. There was no shit talk. It was really cool. So even if the fight doesn't happen, like great. I'm just happy. Like people, you know, he got to boost his stock a little bit. I got to make my name a little bit, and it was just out of complete positivity. Nobody's talking shit about anybody. I mean, his fans aren't even talking shit about me, and my people aren't talking shit about him. It's like just one big fucking party. It's really cool.
We just want to see this fight happen because, like, you know, like both of you guys are coming off back-to-back finishes, and it's funny. I host a matchmaking show. Well, like it happens after all these events, and I don't know why I didn't think of this matchup to begin with, but as soon as you like sent that tweet that caught my attention, I was like, damn, this is a lot of fun. And you like to just like you said, you're not a trash talker. You just want exciting fights. You want bangers, as the kids say today. It seems like this fight would check off like every single box you'd be looking for, right?
I mean, 1,000%, dude, 1,000%. It would really be two exciting martial artists going at it, right? And the whole thing with him being from Houston or around Houston or whatever it may be, and then obviously the story about his father, and you know, I was gifted with the opportunity to fight in my hometown so early in my career. So if I can almost like help him get to it by, you know, I want to fight, I want to be the guy that's walking out, and I want all of Houston to tell me I fucking suck and then I'm gonna die. Like that'd be fucking so cool. I would love for that to happen. You know, it's like, but I don't really like. The fight will be really exciting. Everybody knows it will be really exciting. I can see why the UFC wouldn't want to put it together, but I could also see why the UFC would want to put it together, especially now that there are fans in the crowd. Yeah, dude, I don't really know where it's gonna go with that. As a realist, it's not going to happen in Houston, Texas, unless it's on like 4 or 5 days' notice. The card has like fucking 25 fights on it, so that's not going to happen. But I mean, maybe sometime, maybe shortly thereafter. I mean, I'm sure Adrian Yanez and I are going to fight. I'm sure that's the inevitable. Maybe not this fight, maybe not the next fight. That fight's going to happen. Look at the trajectory of where we're going. He has a head kick knockout and a right hand knockout in the UFC. What do I have? The same fucking thing. Both young, both exciting kids, both fun, both know how to talk, no, not talking shit, where we know how to bring some energy. So I'm sure that fight is going to happen. It's the inevitable. I'm not sure if it's going to happen right now. I don't think it's going to happen in Houston, but I'm ready for it. I mean, fuck, it's going to be so fun.
See, here's what's interesting, because like if you talk about any other division in the UFC besides maybe heavyweight, like you can make the argument that like, oh, we shouldn't match these guys up because they're two prospects. They're both finishers. They're both on a run. Like we don't want to match these guys up. But at bantamweight, there's like no other way around it, man. Like like no matter what happens, you're going to have to go up against like another surging prospect. So why not just make this fight now? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't hurt either of your stocks. Like if you make this fight now, like you're both young, you're both rising, you're both haven't even come close to where your prime's going to be. I feel like now would be a good time to have it. And whatever happens, you know, once you guys get up into the top 15 title contention, there's a story to run it back down the road. Let's make this story start now. Like it's already starting on Twitter. Everyone's getting excited. Let's just make the freaking fight now.
I agree. And if anything, it would boost our stock, right? Because even the loser, whoever, I mean, I could lose, he could, whoever the loser is, it's still going to be an exciting fight. It's still going to be a fun fight. The public recognizes that we're both very skilled in what we do, and the loser wouldn't be discredited if he loses. It would be an exciting fight that could get run down at some point down the road. But as you mentioned, dude, the bantamweight division is no fucking joke. I mean, outside the top 10, it's kind of a toss-up. You could have, like, the 11 guy fight the number 26 guy, and it's still going to be a close fight. You can't really say that about every other division. The bantamweight division is just fucking scary, dude.
It is Monday at 1:40 p.m. Eastern time as we record this, a little peel back from the curtain. And I was talking to Wonderboy Thompson right as this like Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier stuff is going on. And like Wonderboy's just reacting because he's on the card. So he's like reacting to this in real time. So to hear you talk about how people are responding to this fight between you and Adrian Yanez after seeing what's going on Twitter between those two guys, this is a breath of fresh air, Randy. Thank you for this. Thank you on behalf of all the positive fans out there.
Yeah, but I mean, fuck. I mean, at the very least, we can get some. I mean, we don't even have a fight signed or happening, and there's no contracts or anything like that. But people are, you know, excited about our fake Twitter fight that we have going on. I don't know what's going on, dude.
I want to see you guys like just watch a fight together or something. Like do something. Like the UFC should jump on this. Put you guys both on a Twitch stream watching a card together and just get your insights. Like do something.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely there's something that can be done with whatever lead up can happen in whatever direction a fight between Adrian Yanez and myself go. Whether he gets a different opponent, I get a different opponent, we fight each other. Something can be done by bringing us together, and I think we're both pretty positive, like figures for the sport. I mean, we're not out here talking shit. We're not bashing anybody. We're making stupid fun. He's like doing a fundraiser right now, and I want to like plug that and make a little shout out for that. He has a little fundraiser for someone that was affected by COVID close to his circle. I don't want to butcher what's going on, so I'm just going to spit my knowledge. Somebody that was affected, so he had everybody on the card that he fought for sign the UFC gloves, and he's raffling them off. So he's just like a good, whole dude, and like a wholesome dude. And he's a fucking savage in the cage. And he's so funny. I mean, that's the kind of style fight. Well, that's the kind of style that my style complements, or we complement each other's style. Somebody would 100% get knocked out. It would be the inevitable, right? I mean, someone has to be asleep. I hope it's not me, but someone would have to be asleep.
God, this is so friendly and inspiring, I gotta say. Has there been any interest from the UFC at all? Like, has anyone reached out to you about like maybe dates? Like, could this happen? Like anything?
I know that definitely not on my side. I mean, I know that myself or my management has asked for this fight. I imagine that he's done the same, given that this whole thing is extremely public. But I have no idea if there's anything further. I mean, only Sean Shelby knows Sean Shelby's agenda. We can't speculate. We've seen all these fucking crazy things in the UFC. We don't really know what's going to happen. And people like me and Adrian Yanez right now, we're probably on the bottom of the list of what their priorities are. So I don't think I doubt they're in a rush to kind of get us booked or anything like that. But I mean, dude, like this fight, it makes sense in terms of like where the rankings are or rankings, wherever you want to fucking call them. It makes sense of where we are in our career and like stylistically putting that fight together. The only reason, like I said, why I can see why it wouldn't make sense is if they want to kind of build us a little bit more and create a bigger fight. But you can see, on the other hand, look at the biggest fight that's going on right now is McGregor and Poirier. They fought, what was that, 6 years ago or 8 years ago, whatever it was, in the beginning of their careers, the beginning part of their careers. This is kind of the same thing that's going on right now, and now it's going to be the biggest trilogy maybe ever, right? I mean, who knows what's going to go on? But I know if we get that contract, I mean, I'm going to sign it, and I imagine Adrian is too, and we will put together a hell of a fight. But we're not really in control of that. I mean, that's completely out of our control. We can only ask so many times. But at this point, it's like, are we beating a dead horse, or like, are we going to get anything? Is this going to happen? Like, yes or no? If not, then like, it's fine. But I'm glad that we don't have like real animosity towards each other, because if this fight didn't happen and we've been only raging on Twitter about it, I mean, one of us would be flying somewhere else to fucking try to make a fight happen, right? I mean, so it's good that if it doesn't happen, we can just kind of separate and it is what it is. But I mean, I'm ready. I mean, if it happens, great. If not, then also great. I don't really give a fuck. I just want to fight.
So all things considered, whether it's Yanez, May 15th or any other day, like, you're just looking to get back as soon as possible at this point. You're in great shape. You're ready for whatever date comes along. Yeah,
dude. I mean, if something falls off Jacksonville, what's that, 2 weeks? I'm ready for Jacksonville. Literally the only thing that would have me say no is if I can't get my medicals done right, fast enough. If someone calls me on Wednesday for a fight on Saturday, that might be tough to get my medicals done. But if somebody calls me for a fight in 2 weeks, it's gonna be it'll be a second. I'm gonna start getting my medicals done now. I only need like my physical and blood, and those are easy. I can go right across the street. And I have those done. I'm on weight. I'm in shape. I've been training like I have a fight. And then you can see on my social media and stuff that I'm not just sitting around eating fucking potato chips and drinking beer on the beach, right? I'm actually like working out. I'm in shape, training. I'm ready, dude. I'm just waiting at this point. It's annoying, but I mean, in the UFC's defense, I just pulled out of a fight, so I can't really be the one, talking shit. Oh, book me, like they did already, and I pulled. So. I don't know. We'll see what happens. You're only as good as your last fight. At this point, my last fight isn't the Journey fight anymore. It's the fight I pulled out of. So I'm on the low part of the UFC's priority list. But once we get booked and we get another performance, and I'll be higher priority. But I'm ready for whatever, dude. I'm just gonna keep doing what I have to do and see what happens.
Let's talk about things you have a little bit of control over. This newly bonded friendship with Jared Gordon, who is one of our favorites on the show. He had the greatest quote in the history of the podcast last year when talking about friendship. He was talking about his longstanding relationship with Bilal Muhammad over the years. And, we see you on Twitter, you're asking him to lunch and he no-shows, and then you guys have lunch later in the week. I mean, what is going on here? This is 90s sitcom stuff, Randy Costa.
Yeah. Well, dude, what's funny is there were like, so I had just met Jared in September, so right before I had fought Journey, because he was training at Sanford, I was training at a different gym at the time, and I had met him at Phil DeRue's gym. And before I met him, I was always like telling like my girlfriend and like my other friends, like, hey, you have to watch this kid, Jared Gordon. He's, if anything else, it's inspiring. He rock bottom, came back from things that people don't even live through, and let alone he's now making a career off fighting and spreading his message. So he was one of the people in the UFC that there's not many of them that I have, but like I really I root for, like I genuinely like, hey, I hope that dude wins. Like I just back that guy. So now that like I meet him, I'm friends with him. Now it's like, all right, fuck you, Jared. Like kick rocks. But like he is like he is a good dude, and he's such an easy guy to like get behind and root for, given his past and the message he's trying to spread and the people he's or the how he's trying to help people now and just like being a good, wholesome dude. But he's fucking cool, man. He's a fucking idiot. We go to eat twice. We go to lunch twice a week. So every Tuesday and Thursday we'll go to lunch. So if he ducks me or bails on me, last week like his mom was in town or something. So I took that right away and I just like start talking shit about him. But yeah, dude, he's cool, man. I like Jared a lot. He's the man. Good dude.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I root for him. We text chat every so often, but. Like we talked about, man, bantamweight is on fire right now. Your fellow Bostonian Rob Font is getting a main event fight with Cody Garbrandt on May 22nd. I feel like the New England MMA scene, even though you live in Florida now, but you're still New Englander at heart. The scene is in as good a place as I've ever seen it. And I don't know if you agree with that or not, but what do you think of Rob getting a main event spot against Cody, the comeback, and just the region itself getting a little bit more love these days?
Well, I'll definitely speak on Rob and Calvin, dude. I couldn't be happier for those guys. Couldn't be, for whatever it means. I couldn't be more proud of them and everything they've done. Tyson too. Tyson, taking control of what's going on. They are too. They're just good dudes. Before I made my pro debut, Rob is kind of who kickstarted me, get me, back in gear. I was in the open workout with him at UFC Boston when he fought Thomas Almeida. They're just good people, and I really couldn't be happy for him. And Calvin obviously had had a tough fight, but I mean, it was to the GOAT. So, I mean, he really didn't lose stock from that. And then you have Font going up to fight Garbrandt after coming off a big knockout of a Moraes, who was, that was the guy at 135, and Font just did that to him. I'm very happy and I'm very excited for those guys, and they fucking work, dude. They earn it, and I'm so pumped that Font has now, he's had a 9-month or 12-month layoff because of his knee after the Ricky Simone fight. So it's just everything's kind of coming full circle with him, and I'm so pumped for him and New England. If they're repping New England, it's fucking awesome what they're doing. But it's tough. I'm sure like over the next 2 years, New England MMA was going to start booming even more, because this COVID shit shut Massachusetts down completely and all the Northeast, because it's just a different government type. Everything is still really closed. So MMA scene is not even possible there. So once that clears, I'm sure things are going to start booming again. But I'm really happy and excited and proud of Font and Calvin for what they have done and what they're doing and what they're going to continue to do. And Font's up next on May 8th, and I think he's going to get the job done over Garbrandt. I really and truly do. I think this is that big opportunity that Font needs to really put his name in the mix, and I think he's going to get it done.
Can't wait for that fight. And of course, TJ Dillashaw's fighting Corey Sandhagen, so it's going to be a good darn month for the bantamweight division. So I have to ask before we let you go, will you? I could see you and Jared ordering a pizza and hanging out watching Ben Askren versus Jake Paul on Saturday. You're going to be watching that fight? Is that on your radar?
I mean, you fucking have to, dude, right? You have to. Do you want to? Probably not, but like you have to. It's an obligation as a fan of the sport. You have to watch what's going on. And fuck, dude, like what's going to happen? I mean, you could say Jake Paul's like this YouTuber, this, that. Like, yeah, that's all very true. And Ben Askren's that wrestler. Like, they're all very true things. But, like, Jake Paul has shown that he has power behind his punch. And Ben Askren can't rely on his wrestling in this fight. So what's going to happen? You can have the fighter kid who can't use his best or the route to his winnings, to his past winnings. He can't use that in this fight. And you have Jake Paul, who's never really actually fought a real fighter. Ben Askren's a real. I don't fucking know. I have to watch it. I'm so mad about it, dude. I'm embarrassed about it that I'm gonna be watching it, but I am gonna be watching it.
Did it break your heart? Did it break your heart watching Jake Paul knock out former Boston Celtic Nate Robinson?
I mean, he was only there for a brief run, right?
It was a cup of coffee.
It was in and out. What the fuck was he doing in there, dude?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, what's going on now? We got the YouTube kid selling out shows in fucking Atlanta, Georgia. Now we have a concert with, going on in like intermission. Like, what is going? I mean, he's doing it right. You can talk shit about him, but I can tell you one thing: he has more money in his bank account than I do. So. And
me, definitely me.
All together.
Who are you picking? Got to make a pick. I'm handing you $50 right now to place on one of these guys, or I take the $50 back if you don't bet it. You betting Ben or you betting Jake?
Jake Paul.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Knockout?
Yeah.
What happens what happens if it gets past like the 4th round? Are you starting to get nervous on your pick?
Not getting nervous on my pick, but if I'm 100% certain that I'm not 100% certain, but if I'm 100% certain that Jake Paul is going to knock Ben Askren out, that's before the halfway point of the match. In the latter part of the match, I would say closer to like maybe 70%, 65%, because Ben Askren is like that. He's a wet blanket, right? So, I mean, you can probably anticipate him just trying to hang on Jake Paul's neck as often as he can, right? So if he does that, how often, how good is Jake Paul's conditioning? Ben Askren knows what it's like to be under the lights. Ben Askren knows what it's like to, have to hang on somebody and come and be in a dogfight. Does Jake Paul know that? So it's just a toss-up. But we're talking about like, 8-ounce gloves or 10-ounce gloves. And Jake Paul is not like a small guy. He's a pretty big guy. I don't know, dude. It's kind of concerning. It might make the MMA community look pretty bad. Ben's
dropped some guys too, though, in his past. Like I know he's not like the most beautiful striker. He's not Ali, no doubt about it. But he has dropped guys before.
Mike Heck. Is he dropping people with a straight up stance and a 1-2 down the plate, or is he threatening takedowns for 3 minutes and then throwing a right hand to drop someone?
I knew I was in trouble when you used my full name, Randy.
Yeah. Come on, Mike Heck.
I think I have no idea. I have no idea. Like, I'm like, my heart's going with Ben. 100%. I want Ben to win. I want to see it. It'd be a great thing. And listen, it's obvious. If this thing goes deep, that's Ben's best chance to win. But who the hell knows, man? Who knows? Like, I'm surprised this fight's even happening. This guy just had major hip surgery in September, had to retire from MMA, and now and it's my fault this fight's happening, Randy. It's my fault.
Is it?
I'm taking the blame for it because right before I interviewed Ben Askren, Jake was getting ready to fight Nate Robinson, and he mentioned Ben's name. So I interviewed Ben like 3 days later, and I mentioned it and wrote the article and released the video, and the thing blew up, and now they're fighting. So I'm taking the blame. My fault.
I have almost like a hypothetical question. Not really hypothetical, but maybe a different way to think about things. Is the UFC doing as good as it is right now because of Ben Askren getting knocked out by Masvidal?
It didn't hurt.
Who stepped in to save the day when Burns had COVID?
Masvidal.
On 5 days. Masvidal got his stock booming from the Ben Askren fight, right?
Yeah.
Could he have something to do with it? I mean, was he the sacrifice lamb for the UFC gods?
He could. I mean, he could be, but Ben made that fight what it was. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Ben built that fight because, I mean, for a guy that went 1-2 in the UFC and that one win was super controversial, I mean, that guy did big business for the UFC. He cashed in. So did the UFC. For the 3 fights he had, he did big business for them, win or lose.
Ben's a UFC fighter or UFC vet with a massive asterisk next to it, right?
I would agree with that, but that's what makes his story so compelling. That's what kind of makes him who he is.
And he lives up. So if you're a dickhead, you act like a dickhead. If you're Ben Askren, you act like Ben Askren. He is killing it, dude. He's killing it. He trolls the trolls. He's too good, right? I mean, his fucking punching bag has Jake Paul's face on it. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, just too good.
I knew nothing about cryptocurrency until I followed Ben Askren on Twitter. And I still don't know much, but I know way more than I did a year ago. Yeah,
and he's sneaky smart. You look at him, you're like, he's just like a bonehead, right? He's just like a kid that would wear like a dunce cap. But like, that's not him. He's actually like a really intelligent guy.
He is. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's like I don't know. He's like a Diaz brother, but just from like a different side of the country. Like, very business savvy, but approaches things in different ways than the typical fighter does. But it works out. Like, Nick Diaz hasn't fought in like 7 years, but everybody still wants to see him. Like, he does like little things here and there that make you still want to see him.
Yeah, and you're just active enough on social media to be alive.
Just enough.
Just to be alive. Yeah. No, I want Ben to win, but I'd be lying if I said I was confident. Not really confident.
Yeah. Well, the good thing for Ben is that no matter what happens, the man's getting paid and paid a lot of money. So he can deal. I mean, he dealt with the Masvidal loss, and he handled that as well as anybody on planet Earth could have handled that. I don't know how you handle losing to Jake, but I think the $100 bills will dry the tears away at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be upset for too long, dude. He's going to be crying all the way to the bank, and then he's done crying.
That's it. Then he can move on and hang out with his family and be good to go, man. So you and Adrian should like Twitch watching that fight together. That'd be a blast. I'll watch it. I'll watch you guys talk some smack.
Or like Instagram Live it.
Ooh, there you go. See? Do it. Get it done.
That'd be.
You guys can eat and be friendly.
I'll have to consult with my business partner Adrian to see down.
I think you can do it. Build this fight even more, and hopefully we can get it done. But you are the man, Randy. I appreciate the time. We could do this for another hour or so, but unfortunately I have to go pick up my kid from school. But always a pleasure, man. Hopefully we get to see this fight, and if not, just see you back in there sooner rather than later, my man.
All right, Mike. I appreciate having me on, bro. Have a good day, all right?
You too. Thanks, dude.